Okay, so ready to dive in.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Today we're tackling Stephanie Land's Maid, hard work, low pay, and a mother's will to survive. And, it's a memoir, right? But it's way more than just like a personal story.
For sure. I mean, it's a firsthand look at poverty in America, but like through this really specific lens.
Right, exactly. We're talking single motherhood. We're talking the struggles of low-wage work, specifically cleaning houses.
Yeah, and it really like forces you to confront some uncomfortable truths about, well, about how we view poverty and the people who are struggling.
Definitely. Okay, so first things first, this idea of hidden poverty, right? Land's working her tail off, multiple jobs sometimes, and she's still barely scraping by.
Yeah, I think a lot of people assume that if you're working, you must be okay. But Land's story shows how broken that assumption is. Like the minimum wage, even working full time, it's just not enough to live on in most places.
And the book does such a good job of showing how dehumanizing it can be.
Yeah.
Like that scene where she's using food stamps at the grocery store and feels this like burning shame while the person behind her is buying, all this fancy stuff.
Right. And it makes you think about like where our priorities are as a society. We're so quick to judge people who are struggling, but, are we really looking at the systems that are keeping them trapped?
It's like we don't want to see the struggle, right? And that kind of ties into that feeling of invisibility that she talks about so much.
Absolutely. Like she talks about cleaning these like these huge beautiful houses,
Yeah.
and feeling completely unseen by the people who live there.
Yeah. And I mean, think about it, right? We all want clean homes. We want someone to watch our kids do our yard work. But do we ever really think about the people who are doing those jobs?
It's easy to just like not think about it, to just expect these services without considering the human cost.
Exactly. And for Land, it's not just the work itself. It's the mental and emotional toll of trying to raise a child in poverty too.
Yeah. I mean, just finding reliable, affordable childcare, that's a nightmare for so many single parents. And then there's the constant worry about like having enough food, keeping a roof over their heads.
And still trying to be a good parent. I mean, there's a part where she talks about her daughter Mia asking for, I think it was like a princess costume or something.
Yeah, and she just like she can't afford it and she feels like she's failing as a mother.
Yeah.
And it's like so heartbreaking because she's doing her absolute best.
It's just not enough sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you add in trying to navigate the welfare system, the endless paperwork. Land makes it clear that it's not this easy handout that some people think it is.
Oh, absolutely not. It's like this whole other job just trying to get the help you need.
Right. She talks about spending hours on the phone, going to appointments just to get denied for some technicality. It's infuriating.
Totally. The system's supposed to help, but it often feels like it's designed to keep people down.
It's honestly a miracle that she didn't give up. But throughout the book, you see this glimmer of hope, this drive to create a better life for herself and her daughter.
And that's where writing comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly. At first, it's just this outlet, a way to process everything she's going through. But it eventually becomes so much more than that.
It's her escape, it's her voice, it's, her way to fight back against all the stereotypes about poverty and single mothers.
And it leads to Maid.
Yeah.
It's her story. It's her truth. And that rawness, that honesty, that's what makes it so powerful.
And, it's so easy to get caught up in the statistics, right? The poverty rate, the number of people on food stamps, but Land's story reminds us that those numbers represent real people.
It's a reminder that we need to be looking at those systems that we were talking about earlier, right? The ones that are supposed to be helping, but are often just making things harder.
Exactly. And maybe asking ourselves, like, what can we do to change them? How can we create a society where everyone has a chance to thrive?
Yeah, that's the question we should all be asking ourselves after reading Maid. It's a tough book. It's definitely an emotional read, but it's so, so important.
It stays with you. Like,
Yeah.
even after you finish it, you can't help but think about it, about what it means to be poor in America and what we can do to make things better.
So, yeah, go read it. Maid, check it out, and then, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's keep the conversation going.
Because this is a story that deserves to be heard.
Absolutely.
All right. Until next time.
See you then.